This is ABC 7 News at 6:30.
Long before the iPod, the internet, cell phones, and computers, even before TV, there was this little box with no picture. It was called radio, and one Bay Area man had a lot more to do with it than you may have known. Here's Wayne Freedman with his story.
A professor of anything is generally an expert, so it's no surprise that at San Jose State University, Mike Adams, who runs the radio TV department, has an office filled with curiosities.
Most of my good radio stuff is at home.
And the best of it all may be in his head, a story he knows better than anyone about a guy named Charles Herrold.
He started out studying astronomy.
Imagine San Jose in the early 20th century, a young man fascinated by electricity who, after graduating from Stanford, taught the subject and gave demonstrations. Charles Doc Herrold, as they called him, believed in an impossible notion that radio could transmit voices and music.
Was this guy a nerd?
Yeah, sure.
But he was brilliant. Charles Herrold patented a method to modulate the charge of a carbon arc, a means of transmitting words and music through the air. It was primitive. It didn't sound nearly as good as radio today.
I'm sure it was terrible, but it was all there was, because the people who were listening to it were used to listening to Morse code and do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and when they heard actual music and voice on there, it was such a novelty that it was compelling.
And so in 1912, radio broadcasting's first scheduled entertainment programming by Herrold and his students, and even his wife and child got in on the act. For San Francisco's Pan-Pacific Exposition in 1915, Herrold's station broadcast 8 hours a day from 50 miles away.
Tourists would come through and they would listen to Herrold's music, so this was like a big deal.
It wasn't to last. When World War I arrived, the government shut down private broadcasting for the sake of national security. Herrold wouldn't get another license until 1921, and by then tube technology had replaced his arc. He tried to make the station work, but failed.
He gave it to the church. This was Herrold's thing. He finally said, I can't do this anymore, I'm tired, I'm not making any money, I'll be the engineer.
And that might have been a happy ending. But a few years later, the church fired Charles Herrold. Then his wife left him. In obscurity, he watched network radio grow and prosper.
The father of entertainment radio broadcasting wound up as?
A janitor.
Not even in a radio station?
No. Nope, at the Oakland shipyards. Sweeping.
Today, at the Knight Ridder Building in San Jose, a small memorial to the man broadcasting forgot. People rarely take a second glance. But now, a footnote, because you remember that second radio station, the one Charles Herrold owned and gave away, the one where they later fired him? Well, after his death, the church sold it. Then the new owners changed its call letters from KQW to KCBS. From San Jose, Wayne Freedman, ABC 7 News.
The first entertainment radio station looked a lot like this.
This is it, yeah.
And he sort of invented this by himself and put it together and...
Yep. And he got patents for it, too.
He didn't become a rich man?
No, because his technology was the wrong technology. After the war, World War I, the vacuum tube technology of Lee DeForest was the one that the Signal Corps used in World War I, and that's the one that happened. It was superior. This was the beginning. This was the beta version of radio.